Mangwana nakanaka muRezimbabwe zita ndi extra skits. Kana uri munyowani panapa gara wasubscriber kuti usarasikirwe nezviri kubuda latest zviri kubuda zvinhu zvese zviri kubuda news dzese dziri kuitika dzinobatika paextra skits. Saka gara wasubscriber. Zvanhasi tichabata matopic akawanda akasiyana-siyana pavidhio 1 kuitira vaya vanoti aiwa wanyoisa short video wazodidi hatinonyatsa kunzwisisa tofambirana nenguva handiti. Saka today chatanga kutaura nenyaya Madhuku achitaura nenyaya yapresident vedu Emerson Mnangagwa kweteme up to 2028. You understand that? Up to 2028 lawyer redu Madhuku vachitaura. Saka chitera zvenyu munzoti vanga vachiedza kutaura kuti chii. Mondudza comment section guys. Point ndingachitaurwa nawo Madhuku, is it correct or is it bad? But sekuona kwangu vamadhuku zvanga vachitaura I think zvine musoro. Because vamwe vanhu vanomboti vamadhuku vataura zvine musoro kune nyika vamadhuku vanotaura zvine musoro because he is a lawyer. He is a lawyer vamadhuku. So guys, let's get into video. Here it is.
What he has said repeatedly.
Now let's go to the stages.
Yes, when we come to the stages, perhaps there's a mistake, which is that to think that the Constitution provides a clear procedure for those who want to breach its fundamental frameworks. There's no such procedure. So for us to know what stages would be followed, we would have to first be told what is being proposed. At the moment, I do not know what is being proposed. But if we assume that what they want is to have the president serve a third term, he has served 2 terms already, and the Constitution is clear that that is the maximum that ought to be served. If they want to introduce a 3rd term, they will have to remove the provisions of the Constitution which say that the president shall serve a term of office of not more than 2 terms. So that's what is put in the Constitution. They'll have to amend that provision. Now, to amend that provision is on its own. It would be a normal process, which is to have a bill published, people given 90 days within which to debate it, and then thereafter get to Parliament, get 2/3 majority of both houses. After that, in this case, I want to add there that whether or not you will have a referendum for that provision is not something that is simply determined by the Constitution. Our Constitution sets out certain things that by law you would require a referendum. But in setting those things by law to say you need a referendum, it doesn't mean that those things that are specified by law as requiring a referendum are the only things that require a referendum. I must emphasize that. So many things that are not specified as requiring a referendum would also require a referendum, in the sense that with a constitution, there are always 2 sets of provisions. There are provisions that are of a legal nature, which are legally binding in the sense that you go to a court if they are not followed. But there are so many provisions of a constitution which are morally binding, and these are not written. And one of those rules is that if you want to amend a constitution in a very big way, in a very fundamental way, you must go for a referendum. This unwritten rule is part of our culture, our political culture. When we went for a referendum in 2000, because we wanted to amend the constitution, it was not because there was a constitutional provision that said we had to go to a referendum. When we went to a referendum in 2013, it was not because there was a constitutional provision that said we had to go for a referendum. I hope the public understands that. And as a matter of constitutional law is not just about law. It is about law and other non-legal rules that are politically binding. And this is what I mean by that. So if, just to say that you want to move from 2 terms, to either 3 or no terms. It's such a fundamental change.
That requires a referendum.
It requires a referendum politically. So I would insist